So there's an aspect of off-grid living that people don't like to talk about. You're here by yourself. There's nobody around. If you were to call the cops, it would take them 30 minutes to get out here. So you have to be prepared yourself. Now, as you know, I don't have a large armament of weapons like every macho man does. I don't. I have this 22 that I kind of like a lot. It's a Marlin. I have a shotgun. Just a few things that Dad has given me that I keep close by. This one's hanging right over the window. The shotgun hangs right underneath my desk. Of course, I have my conceal and carry 22, and I'm a big fan of 22s, and I think they're very versatile. There are a lot of people who hate the idea that I try to defend myself with 22s, but to me, ammo's cheap. I can practice a lot. Matter of fact, just yesterday, just by coincidence, I was practicing with the 22 pistol yesterday, checking my draw time, shot or time to target, and the whole thing. I've had to really readjust how I shoot recently. Recently, I lost my right eye. It's gone. I mean, it's getting better, but I think it has gotten as good as it's going to get. I've tried to repair it myself. A doctor blinded me with steroids. He gave me steroids and blinded me. It was an allergy. I mean, I don't know if the allergy was really worth losing my eye over. But it was my right eye, and I'm right hand dominant. So when I shoot, I immediately go to the right eye. So it has taken a long time, well, a lot of practice to transition. So when I got this, the 22, Dad gave this to me well, I guess in the springtime, earlier this year. I just didn't have the ability to switch to my left side. I practiced a lot, and I was pretty accurate, but it took me forever to get lined up. It was just uncomfortable. So I thought about it for a while and figured out that I needed to get a laser sight. Now, you can buy this. It's green. I want to point out that it's a green laser sight. I don't want to point a gun at you because somebody's going to say, you pointed a gun at me, but I want to try to show you that it's green. So the green shows up better during daylight hours than red does. I've pointed this out to 600 yards right at dusk, and I could see pretty well. But with a little 22, we live on an acre and a half, and most of it is wooded. So the most I would really need to concern myself with is probably about 30 to 50 yards, and I think 50 yards is really pushing it here. So I've sighted this up to 30 yards. Now, it's important that when you have a laser sight that you adjust for distance. So you can see that I've taken some white out and I've marked different locations. And so I can turn this to different locations. I'm trying to do this in the camera so it's hard to see. So that right there is for very short distances, like from, I don't know, just maybe here to, it's hard to say, just a couple feet is what we're talking about with that kind of distance. Now, I don't use that too often. If it's that close, then I would just go ahead and use my pistol to shoot with. But if I needed to, I could. The other dot here, I got it figured out. I figured it's about 15 yards. So when we think about my yardage, from the house to the chicken coop is 30 yards. So that's kind of what I've set the whole thing on, is I need to protect those chickens regularly. 15 yards, that's about half the distance, and then I have another one up here in the front which is 30 yards. So it's easy to adjust, and I can get on target really quick with this green dot. During daylight hours, it's a little bit harder to see, so I'm sure you can't see it on the ground, but what I do is I hold it down to the ground. I can find the laser sight right in front of me, and then just bring it right up to target, and I don't lose it. But the red one was hard to do. Now, I bought this on Amazon. It was real cheap, and I kind of like it. It's really nice because it does have that turn dial that I can just quickly turn, like in old World War II movies. I've repaired this Marlin here. It didn't eject very well, and what it was dirty. When you got to get on YouTube videos and you got to look to see what's clogging it up, and how to tear it apart. I have one just like it. Well, I still do have it. It's at Mom's house. It never ejected very well. It was terrible ejection. Well, now I know after cleaning this one up. I bought this new spring, a new plastic block, And this one is just nice. It's very reliable. I use Blazer. That's a CCI 22 for those who are interested. Blazer has always worked for me. Even with this pistol here, it has always worked well. I've never ever had anything fail through this when using Blazer. Now other bullets, they fail all the time. So the reliability of this gun is flawless as long as I'm using Blazer. Even CCI, people tell me to use mini mags or CCI super whatever. There's just all kinds of CCI stuff, but Blazer has always worked better for me. But Blazer has always worked better for me. So I use Blazer in this also. Now, when I'm shooting the pistol, it took me a long time to adjust to the right eye problem. So when I can draw, I'm trying to get a 2-second draw or faster with this. With the right eye, I'm in trouble because I got to switch. So I've been practicing a ton here lately, drawing it and then going to my left eye. Well, yesterday I drawed it and I pulled the trigger for the first time. After drawing and drawing, I finally pulled the trigger and I was right dead center. I mean, it couldn't have been any perfect. It was at 7 yards, but it was perfect. So I'm getting better. It's frustrating, I guess. I guess it's just part of getting old. I don't know, but it's frustrating. I've always been so good at shooting guns, so accurate, but now I'm older. I'm having to make all these adjustments because of my right eye. Hopefully I can repair it. Maybe I can repair it. I mean, I can see my hand now, so that's a big plus. I used to not be able to see my hand. I also have a pellet gun. Before I got this, I had a pellet gun that I used a lot to scare animals away. Look, I'm not a big fan of shooting animals. I'm not. I mean, I'll hunt, and I have no problems with hunting, but I don't want to just go around shooting animals just to be shooting animals. A couple of years ago, we had a huge raccoon problem. I bet we had 15, 20 raccoons around here, and I showed you video after video of me trapping them and taking them out to the conservation area. Now, before you trap an animal on your property, you must know your laws. Raccoons get accustomed to their environment. So if they live in a city type of environment where they're getting into the dumpsters and the trash cans and they're eating food, just like bears, and you relocate them out to the country, they don't have any hunting skills. They've been taught how to scavenge, not hunt. In Missouri, we can still relocate animals, but we've had some interesting animals around here. We've had dogs. Dogs have always been a problem, but I finally got the word out. And the word is that we have no choice. If your dogs are attacking my chickens, I'm going to have to take action. And the word has really been put out there pretty good. What I did was the first time we had a dog attack our chickens, Carolyn was out in the yard, and she was holding one of her favorite chickens. Dog came up, jumped on her, pushed her back. Well, Carolyn reacted. She let go of the chicken so she could catch her balance. As soon as she let go of the chicken, that dog killed the chicken. Well, I ran up on the road. Another neighbor ran up on the road with me. I said, I'm going to kill these dogs if I catch them on the property again killing chickens. I just can't have that. He got the word out. Unfortunately, last November, so almost a year ago, we had another dog attack. This time, I didn't have to deal with it. Of course, our chickens, we lost, I forget, 9 chickens? Doesn't matter. We lost a significant number of chickens. But so did everybody else in the town. So everybody else was taking care of the problem too. So now, I haven't seen a dog in, probably a year. I haven't seen a dog at all. So I think that problem's getting resolved. The word is out. Just keep your dogs tied up. The other animal that we came across was downright scary. Now, we have bears in this area, so that's probably going to be the most scariest thing I ever see is a bear. But we saw a bobcat. Now, you think bobcat, those aren't that big. This one had to be as big as a pit bull, maybe a lab, maybe a black lab. It was huge. To the point I wasn't really sure it was a bobcat. I've seen bobcats. They hide up in the tree and like, hi, there you are. But this guy was a monster. And although I know what a bobcat's face looks like, its body resembled something like out of the mountain lion type of size. It was huge. But I had that pellet gun at the time, and I still had my right eye and I had a scope on it. And I shot him in the hind side because, like I said, I don't want to kill animals. So I right on the thigh, I got him. He was harassing the chickens. And at the time we had Frenchie. Those of you may remember Frenchie. Boy, he was such a, oh man, he was, what a rooster he was. Bobcat was on one side of the fence and Frenchie was on the other side of the fence. And I'm thinking, Frenchie, there's no way you're gonna win this battle. But he stood his ground. He got his girls into the chicken coop, and he was gonna sacrifice himself to get those girls taken care of. And that's what you want a rooster for. I mean, not only to breed, but they will sacrifice themselves to save the hens. So if you are going to raise chickens, you're going to want to get a rooster, even if you don't want to incubate your chicken eggs. If you live out here in the country, he will make himself a meal so the girls can survive. And that gives you, your eggs. It saves your eggs. Now, we've had some issues with groundhogs and armadillos. Yeah, and I'm not really sure what to do with those guys. They're digging such huge holes in the yard. I got rid of one groundhog, but these holes are 2 feet deep. You could break your ankle in these things. You trip in it. So, I'm going around all the time filling in holes, trying to get rid of these groundhogs. I think the other one has left. It was here. We had 2. I know we had 2, but I haven't seen it in a while. So we got rid of the one, and the other one's gone. And then the armadillo, they stick around for a day or two, and then they get ran over by a car. Armadillos are not afraid of anything. Well, actually, we had those 2 groundhogs. The only reason I got the one groundhog, because he wasn't afraid of anything. He walked right up on me, but the other one was really skittish. But the armadillos, they always get ran over. Guaranteed. I don't have to worry about armadillos. They're going to get ran over. I don't see a point having these big old bazookas to take care of the problems in society. This gun, the little pistol I have, if it's a human predator, for those that say, oh, I wouldn't have a 22, knockdown power. Well, I bet there isn't anybody out there willing to stand in front of a 22 and test their theory. They're a dangerous weapon, and it's my understanding, I don't know how true this is. I mean, it seems true because a lot of people say it, that the 22 has killed more people than any other gun, because apparently, again, I don't know how true this is, the mafia used to use them. And if you really think about it, a 22 is a pretty handy weapon to have. First of all, if there's multiple attackers, I've said this before, if you use a 22, your ears aren't going to be ringing crazy after you shoot it. Everybody has to use earplugs, but with 22, you don't really need earplugs. I mean, they recommend it, but you don't need them. So if you got multiple attackers and you take one down with a 9mm and you can't hear the guy behind you because your ears are ringing, with the 22, you're going to know the guy is behind you. And the other thing is the kickback. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, I can handle a kickback and all that. Well, if you're out on the range all day and you're practicing drawing and you get tired, how long are you going to practice? Whereas with the 22, there's just no kick. So I suggest 22 on your off-grid property. I would make it your primary weapon. You don't need those big monster firearms out there. Even if you're squirrel hunting. I mean, I showed you the other day, I kind of showed you. I shot at one, but I couldn't show you the squirrel on YouTube. They would have taken the video down. But I'm out here. I have a squirrel hunting license. I see a squirrel. I can take out my pistol and I can shoot the squirrel. It's just handy to have all the time. So 22 is just really handy to have. It's cheap. I'm not too worried about ruining this thing if I drop it or get it wet or accidentally leave it outside. It's easy to replace. They're not that expensive. So last night, Carolyn was down in the camper, and she always takes her phone down there. That way she can listen to music. It was dark. She's down there, and she calls me up. She says, I can't get home. What? I mean, it's like 20 feet away. How can you not get home? I don't know, maybe 50 feet away. And she says, there's a raccoon out there, and I'm pretty sure it's rabied. So I went outside to take a look, and I don't know if he was rabied or if he was just really sick, but he was not scared. He wouldn't go away. He wouldn't shoo away. Well, he ended up behind some bushes, maybe kind of like this, but I mean, it was pretty thick. And so I had my headlamp on, and I'm looking for him, and I couldn't see anything behind those bushes except the reflection of his eye. So I'm at a good long distance. I showed you the markings, so it was at least 15 yards away because I had it on the center marking here. in the dark. I wouldn't have been able to do this in the past, even with my good right eye. In the dark, I've shot a possum once, a long time ago. It was in the chicken coop. This was not before we were in here. He was in the chicken coop eating eggs. And I went in there in the dark with a headlamp on, and I had to take 4 or 5 shots before I actually got him, because it's just hard to see with iron sights on a gun. But with this, I was able to point that laser right on that reflection of the eye, because the eye always reflects back. And I was able to get rid of that. I'm pretty sure it was a rabid raccoon. So if you click the up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about the ATF. I wanted to take these away. So I hope I can inspire you to think about the serious side of off-grid living, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.